Hello, Professor Deaton. So, in this week's discussion, we were covering the permissibility or unpermissibility of abortions. Now, you've asked us to take a few examples from our Rate That Abortion worksheet, and I have a few highlighted here, and to just review and go over why we believe this, why we find something morally permissible, morally impermissible, and that is what I'm about to do right here. All right. So I've highlighted both A and B just because I wanted to cover both of them, because I feel like really just the variables that are in both of them really don't change the situation. In A, it is explained that the pregnancy is a result of a rape. Well, in the case given by Thompson of the violinist being hooked up by the violinist, it's morally permissible to get an abortion in this case because you did not ask to be hooked up to the violinist. You did not give your consent, and therefore, it is permissible. It is most justified to get an abortion in that case. B, it's the same as A, except for the pregnant woman is a known prostitute. I do not believe that the fact that she is a prostitute changes the situation. I believe that if she is raped, she has been raped and she did not consent to it, even if she is a prostitute. Say in the case of the violinist, if you're hooked up to a violinist for, like other violinists, say you're hooked up to other violinists, but you consent to that and you're like, hey, I want to be hooked up to this violinist for 9 months just to keep them alive because that's what I want to do and that's my choice. However, in the case that you wake up and you're hooked up to this violinist without consent, it is morally justified to go ahead and be like, hey, no, I'm not going to do this. I don't know this guy. I did not consent to this. And to go ahead and leave that. It's morally justified in the fact that this woman as a prostitute doesn't change that because she did not consent to being raped or to consent to have this sexual encounter. Another example that I wanted to highlight was F. The woman acknowledges that the pregnancy was planned by herself and her boyfriend, but she now says she has changed her mind and wants an abortion. The boyfriend still insists that she continues pregnancies, and he offers to take their child to raise himself. An example like this, one that I made up myself because I work in the food industry, is that a couple goes out to eat, and they're like, you know what? We really want this delicious chocolate cake that's on the menu here. And so we bring the cake out to them, and they both take a bite of it, and all of a sudden the woman was, even though there's nothing wrong with it, she can't say there's anything wrong with it, she's like, you know what? I don't want this cake anymore. I don't want to pay for it. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't want it. She's like chocolate cake all of her life. It's not something that she can say that she just doesn't like about it. It's just that she's just not feeling the cake anymore. In that case, it is not morally permissible to take that cake back and take it off the bill just because she realizes that she doesn't like chocolate cake. It's not morally permissible to do that, and it's a very mean thing to do to your server. Another one I highlighted was G and H together. The woman is in early pregnancy and has invasive cancer of the cervix. If removal of her uterus is performed promptly, she has a good chance of survival. The operation will, of course, result in the death of the fetus, whose development would otherwise be normal. On this one, I agree with Noonan. I don't know if I pronounced that right. That, if the mother's life is on the line, then it is morally permissible to go ahead and have an abortion because, in my view of that, the mother is living, she's breathing, she has made connections with life. This baby or this fetus or this unborn hunk of cells, they have no connections to the world. They have nothing that they are leaving behind. They have no people that they're leaving behind. I think it is more justified to have the abortion and get the hysterectomy and save the woman with connections life. I feel like that is more justified. On the part where it's the one where the woman does not want the abortion, but the man wants her to have the abortion, in that case, I do not believe that one is justified, because that is someone, it really should be up to the mother. If the mother feels as though she wants to risk her life and have this baby, then she should. That is her body, that is her right, and she has the right to her own body. However, nobody else has the right to her body. A man coming in and saying, you know what, I do not want you to have this baby. I want you to live. While that would be very touching, that is still her decision and her decision only. And, it's still very just if she wants to have an abortion still. Or it's just if she doesn't. I mean, it's really just up to her. Another one I highlighted was the baby would place a severe financial strain on the family. That one I just see as extremely selfish. If you do not have the time or the money or the availability to take care of a baby, one, use contraceptives or some sort of birth control and keep it from happening. Or adoption is always an option. That is something that my high school believed in, that's something my parents believed in, that's something my family believed in. And if you are unable to take care of a child, then it is always a better option to give them a better life. So I do not believe it is morally permissible to have a abortion in that situation, because one, they should have taken precautions. They should have put up like the screens on the windows if it was like a little spores, or they should have thought about it. I don't know. I do not believe it is morally permissible in that situation. Another one that I highlighted was the woman has a pre-viable pregnancy, which is developing in one of her fallopian tubes instead of her uterus, also known as a ectopic pregnancy. Now, in that case, there is a very high risk of not only the mother dying, but also the baby dying, if that makes sense. I just kind of spazzed out for a minute. In that case, it would be morally permissible to have an abortion due to the fact that that's the mother's life on the line, and even if she wanted to keep the baby, either way, there's a high risk of her and the baby dying. So if she was to have the abortion, just the baby would for sure die. But if she was to go ahead and carry out the pregnancy, there's a very slim chance that her and the baby would make it. So in this case, you'd have to kind of look at the train theory. Would it be better to lose one person over the many, or keep the switch in the same position and let it run over all the people? In that case, I think it would be extremely morally permissible to have an abortion, and I encourage it, because even though it is a loss of a life, it's either one life or two lives, and in that case, it would be better just to go ahead and have the abortion. This has been my reflection on the Rate That Abortion worksheet, and I look forward to doing next week's discussion. Thank you.